Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA. We sure are happy to be here on this lovely Thursday night at Rockingham Speedway. The Rock, a legendary racetrack. I mean, you can't get much better than this. I mean, high banks, going to be some tire wear, going to be a lot of guys getting loose, guys hitting the wall. I mean, this is old school NASCAR as it gets. Of course, I'm Brian Britt and joined in the booth by Big Al. Big Al, how you feel about Rockingham?
Hey man, this is one of those old school tracks, like you said. You got to be too cool to be old school. So, if you've been around NASCAR for a while, you might be familiar with it. But if you're new to the series, well, definitely you should stick around because I think it's got a little bit of something for everybody.
100%. I also think that we could even see this track make a resurgence. I know they've been actually been working on it as well, repaving it and all of that sort. So maybe it might even be back in NASCAR at some point. See some little bit of them next gens out here, just like we're going to see them here tonight. Of course, qualifying is beginning here. Let's go over the race facts here just a bit. Now, of course, this is the Sun Drop 200 in the Thursday Cup Series, sponsored by TLC. Big shout out to that partnership. And, of course, this is going to be a 200 lap race, stages 45 and 105, 5 sets of tires, 200 laps. Big guy, that's quite a race. 68 laps on the fuel window. I mean, when I saw that, I was a little apprehensive. I mean, but I think we're going to have some fun. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to add a little bit more strategy for these drivers because it is, quite a long ways. But hey, we'll be here every lap of the way, providing smiles and entertainment all along the way.
100%. I mean, this is a challenging track, too. Would you characterize this as probably a driver's track? I mean, I would say so.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like the predecessor, the track that we ran. Let me start over again. Yes, absolutely. And this, like its predecessor, the track that we ran last week, these are definitely drivers' tracks where drivers actually get to go in and kind of handle the car a little bit. And that's going to be the key in order for everybody to make it. This isn't one of those tracks where you can just go out there and kind of hold the throttle down all the way around. You're going to have to muster it a little bit, Brian. You're going to have to use a little bit of that sweet elbow grease.
Yeah, 100%. I guarantee you that brake is going to be also being used and utilized out there. Of course, this is a very fast track, even though it has a lot of short track tendencies, of course, with the banking. But you're right, you cannot go through these corners full blast. You have to really let off and back off. Well, let's take a quick look at the standings so far here in the Thursday series. Taking a look at the points on the board, Don Avery, of course, at the top of the board, won Saturday and Thursday last week, if I recall. Greg Wychinski, of course, has won a race this season so far as well. He's in second place. Josh Schaffner, also one of our winners, in third place. Kenny Powell, fourth place. Derek Heitman, of course, another winner, in fifth. Matt DeCiani, sixth place. Al Kozlowski in seventh. Darren Mullins, eighth. Ninth, Randy Mullins. And rounding out our top 10 is Wes Dobbs. So, and pretty close in points. I mean, not a huge spread there, Big Al.
Definitely.
Of course, a lot of winners. I'll tell you that. I think we've seen a unique winner in every race so far in the in this 2023 season.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And kudos to Don Avery last week on the sweep, man. That's got to feel pretty good. Definitely got to boost those triad guys' confidence going into this week here. And this week's a little bit of a dark horse, if you will. We don't get to travel with this track a whole lot. Not a lot of drivers probably got a lot of time on it, but definitely, like you said, this is a track that's going to start to actually emerge back onto the scene. They put a lot of money into this track to bring it back to life. iRacing had a lot to do with that, so I just don't think that they're going to let it just kind of sit there and be unused. Another thing, Brian, that I'm kind of wondering, like, what are these guys going to be doing as far as shifting? Because this is one of those old school tracks with that 4-gear fourth gen car even, but now here we are with this car, 5-speed transmission. That's going to be something else that's interesting to see.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point you raised up there. Not quite sure what we'll see. I mean, I've watched a few A Opens this week, but I haven't really looked through the cockpit to see whether they were shifting or not. So they could very well be. I mean, I know the corners are banked and they're very high speed, but there still is some opportunity, I guess, to get bogged down there. So possibly, and could we even see some guys running a fifth gear setup and a fourth gear setup? Different. Maybe staying in the same gear but running different gears. Of course, qualifying looks like it's about to wrap up here. Most drivers have completed. I don't think I see anybody on the track at the moment, but
But what we
definitely.
do see But what we definitely do see, we see some different names on the top of that leaderboard. That's definitely going to be something else that we're going to be paying attention to here tonight as well, Brian, because like we said, not a lot of guys have a lot of practice on this track. So good to see Matt DeCiani out there on the pole here tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, they have been running them A Opens. I've seen DeCiani quite a bit running those A Opens, and of course Don Avery as well, Derek Heitman. A lot of those guys almost religiously run it, but of course the 75% fuel tank is going to change quite a bit, I do believe.
Look at Mark Sanchez on the outside pole.
Love to see that. Well, let's go ahead and take a brief step away, play our national anthem. We'll be right back with your starting grid.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I feel comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action. Matt DeCiani going to be qualifying on the pole. Of course, I do believe that's not the first pole he's gotten here in the last week or so. Mark Sanchez, though, outside pole. Very good qualifying effort for that driver. Third place, of course, is going to be Darren Mullins. Fourth place going to be Kenny Powell. Fifth place going to be Don Avery with J.C. Evans in sixth. Seventh place, Derek Heitman and Josh Schaffner in eighth. Ninth place, Jeffrey Souza. And rounding out our top 10 is Al Kozlowski.
That's going to put Wes Dobbs and Derek Jacobs in that last row, and that's going to round out this 12-car field.
Yeah, definitely. And here we go. Just in time. We finished the grid there, and they start rolling. And love to see Sundrop as the race sponsor tonight. That's kind of old school in a lot of ways. Of course, it still is a drink that exists, but I know it's one of those older ones.
Yeah, I absolutely know all about it. I've drank my weight in Sundrop, being a Carolina boy. As a matter of fact, my dad used to tell me even this when I was in the Army and I'd go home, I'd drink a 12-pack of Sun Drop, and he said, "Boy, Sun Drops don't make turds."
Wow. I tell you, yep. And that's the actual Big Al, right?
Yeah, them Sun Drops don't make turds.
Well, here we go. We're at the Rock. Well, ain't no turds here. Let's get this thing going, though. Looks like the pace car getting ready to take that left off of pit road. I mean, DeCiani showing some really good qualifying speed. He had a lot of speed last week. I mean, he was his main competition with Don Avery, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. But these guys, they do share secrets, so we're going to have to see how this actually plays out. I don't think they're like, stark rivals. Green flag out. Matt DeCiani wasted no time getting the field started. It looks like Mark Sanchez got caught asleep just a little bit, so he's going to have to now try to navigate his way around turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely still some side-by-side racing, though, as you see, of course, Derek Heitman, I do believe, trying to get around Kenny Powell, able to get clear here. And interesting to see, a little bit of a different scheme there, I do believe, for the 76, kind of a more all-black scheme with white on there. But definitely some racing going on. Kenny Powell trying to make some moves early.
Yeah, Powell definitely trying to get himself up here closer to the leaderboard as he is now currently being shown in 5th place. Josh Schaffner, another G&G teammate, he is battling side by side with J.C. Evans. Good to see J.C. up into the top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, that's one good thing is all these guys should get some points except for maybe the bottom two. Al Kozlowski dives it in under JC. A little contact.
Yeah, welcome to the league, JC. That's a Kozlowski signature move right there. So nothing gets you more accustomed to running in the ISCA than a good old Kozlowski dive bomb.
That's right, and it looks like he was successful in making the pass. Of course, Wes Dobbs now trying to get around J.C. Evans as well. So still battling going on. Jeffrey Souza entering the top 10. He's up to 9th right now. This is definitely a track where you can kind of pull away. But then again, you might not want to, just considering the tires are so hard to maintain at this track. You got to kind of back your corners up. That's what I hear from a lot of drivers.
Yeah, that's why we call this a driver's track. It's not one mode that's going to work for everybody. Guys are going to have to continuously try to figure out the best way to circumnavigate this track. As Kozlowski now is on the move. He finds himself up in the 8th place.
Now even trying to go after, I do believe, 7th. Dives it in under Derek Heitman. Now side by side. Gets a good run on the bottom here. Al looking like he's really turning very well down there. I'll give him that.
Yeah, but, it's still early on in this thing, Brian. We still got to make it to 45 laps in order to put this stage in the books. So although drivers can be doing acrobatics and such great stunts here early on, you're going to have to be that guy that's going to be around later in the stage to see how those tires are going to wear. Because tire wear at this track, that's something that I don't think has really been calculated well yet. We've got a very up-to-date tire model, but no one's raced on this track with this car.
Yeah, but of course, not in real life. But in the A Opens, you can expect to see over 2 seconds of fall off. So it is a ton of fall off these guys could experience here, well into the 25-second range. As, of course, we see Schaffner now entering up into the top 5. Darren Mullins, what a great job for him. Al Kozlowski making another big pass here on Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez is definitely not going to be our biggest mover. Well, he actually is, but in the wrong direction, starting outside of the pole. Now he finds himself all the way back in the 7th place, and I don't think his fall from grace is over just yet, as now he has Mr. Sousa down on the inside.
And here comes Wes Dobbs coming as well. Wes Dobbs looking like he's running really good right now. We'll have to see how they get managed. It looks like J.C. Evans trying to recover a little bit, try to get that spot back, maybe get by Mark Sanchez. Sanchez on a big decline, and what's crazy about it, he started on the outside pole.
Yeah, it almost makes you beg the question if he maybe didn't change his setup over. Not sure, or maybe he knows something we don't, and he's kind of falling back to conserve tires. But either way, I think we're just going to have to see how his strategy plays out. But I think it's probably going to be more problematic, I think, than systematic.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right, 100%. You know, you hate that when you leave your. We've seen that before. I mean, I know one in the field right now that I'm sure everybody in this field has actually done it, left their qualifying setup on. But Derek Jacobs, I know for a fact he did it one week. He told us. But, you know, look at that. Jeffrey Souza starting to try to put some pressure here on Derek Heitman. But Matt DeCiani is running away, Big Al. 1.27, 1.28 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Heitman, you know, he's usually the guy who is kind of got it figured out. But I guess that video game that he was playing didn't have this track in there, so that's probably going to be a reason why he's not running up front here tonight.
Could very well be the case. I don't know. I mean, but knowing him, this could be all according to plan. We've seen these kind of things happen before.
Well, you know, I've seen a lot of things happen on these Thursday night races, and what we're seeing here tonight is Matt DeCiani well-tuned, dialed in. Derek Jacobs kind of back in the back, struggling a little bit, but he is definitely, you know, improving every week. So I don't want anybody to think that we're making disparaging comments, but we're just kind of say that, look, this track right here is a little different. So even though it's a little different, we're still starting to see kind of different leaders here, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, definitely starting to see some guys grow and get better. Matt DeCiani has had a phenomenal last few weeks, especially Darren Mullins. I think he's one of the best improved, I'd say, so far this season and even last. I mean, he's now up into second place, and he's holding off Don Avery. I mean, and that's a hard thing to do considering he's got the hot hand right now.
And Avery, and that just furthers my point, because what I guess I'm getting at directly is, man, we don't have a G&G guy that's in the top three here. You know what I mean? And that's far from what we've seen since I've been calling races. It's always been really the G&G show. But this season is shaking up to be a lot different. I mean, and that's something that is a testament to the caliber of talent that they're drawing in on this league here, Brian.
Yeah, 100%. Side by side for second place is Don Avery is going to be trying to take that spot away. He's going to get clear. You saw that Darren Mullins was starting to struggle a little bit there. I think he's dealing with a little bit of a loose condition. Looking at lap times, though, the fastest man on the track right now is still Matt DeCiani. He has not slowed down, it seems like, one iota.
Yeah, and also to note, Matt DeCiani is the only driver that's busted a sub-24-second lap out here tonight as well. Now, speaking of that, these lap times are starting to find themselves where I think right now the drivers are probably going to be about as fast as they're going to be throughout the end of this stage. I think right now lap times are going to start to fall off. Looks like the draft is not even a factor, man, as Matt DeCiani is definitely putting on a clinic. Now, the key is going to be for DeCiani is how well he handles it if he doesn't get out in the lead here because of something that happens arbitrarily on pit road or something else.
We've seen that happen before with DeCiani. Specifically, I mean he led a lot of the race, I do believe, on Thursday at Legacy, Michigan, and once he got back into the pack, it just was all she wrote. It was so hard to get back to where he was, and he's got to pray and hope that does not happen here tonight.
Yeah, speaking of falling back, there goes that Speedway Angels 88 at Al Kozlowski. He is getting the dirty Sanchez. Sanchez now best him.
He lost a lot of position.
Sanchez is going to find himself back up into the top 10, so he's got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, it seems like he's got a good long-run car. Like he was very much struggling on the shorter runs. So that makes me think he does not have a qualifying setup on.
Yeah, but we're not even halfway through this stage yet. So we did understand, it's kind of like that cream. What goes up is going to come down. This is going to sift itself out. And it looks like, some of those drivers that are in the back that have been saving their tires might actually be starting to make a march up to the front as we are now. We'll be lap 22 at the line here.
Yeah, taking a look at lap times, they are starting to fall off dramatically. I mean, kind of a mid-24-second lap right now. I mean, DeCiani even slowing down. Avery's starting to catch him. He was a couple tenths faster that last time by.
And just me guesstimating the way we're going right now, it's not problematic. But, however, we are going to eventually run into karma. We're going to have lap cars. Guys are going to be on different pit strategies. So, right now, everything's good. And it is that first stage, so drivers kind of get to air it out to kind of get a feel for what their setup's about. Because
Almost a little contact there.
Yes, Kenny Powell now is trying to make his way around the 64 of Mr. Mullins.
Yeah, sad to see Randy Mullins not in the field here tonight, but Darren Mullins definitely carrying that name proudly. But now it looks like Kenny Powell has entered the top 3. Josh Schaffner not far behind, going to be looking to also take advantage of the situation.
I guess that corn is growing in the right direction for Schaffner, as he is, Josh is always the guy he's going to kind of wait it out there just at least for the first half. But I think it's early in the season, so he's going to be trying to get as many stage points as he can, Brian, because those stage points, they're definitely going to turn out to be the difference, as he is now battling on the inside of Darren Mullins. Slight contact there, a little door bang, and Schaffner's still trying to see if he can get the advantage.
Now you see Darren Mullins carrying a lot of speed still up on the top side. It's going to be difficult to make this pass stick, especially this late in the run. I've seen it plenty of times in some of the A Open competition where guys will use that top side and be very successful at defending.
What we're watching, though, is we're watching to see just how quickly Heitman can close the distance while Darren Mullins and Josh Schaffner are battling for what is that 4th position. Because right now, like you said, at this stage in the run, it could be detrimental not only to your momentum, but definitely to your tires. So it looks like Schaffner is going to yield there, kind of fall back behind Mullins and see if he can't get some momentum going, because they've got a trio that's closing in on them pretty quick there.
Yeah, and you see how much this has slowed down Josh Schaffner. I mean, Kenny Powell pulled away after his pass with the 64, so you really do have to just line it up just right to be able to carry as much speed and get clear of that 64. It's going to be difficult. I think Josh Schaffner might need to take that top line out of his toolbox as well, see if he can't get a nose above that 64 instead of trying to pass him on the bottom.
Well, you just wait. I mean, you do nothing. You just keep yourself right there in his relative, and you just wear him down, because I'm going to tell you what, you're going to make him drive harder than he wants to, faster than he needs to, just by you putting that pressure on him. And we know Schaffner's going to do just that. Nothing against Mullins, but I would definitely rather be in the Schaffner seat than in that Mullins seat right now.
I don't know. I mean, he does have a very fast 76 coming up on him, and Jeffrey Souza's not that far behind. And at Rockingham, if you get passed by one, a lot of times you're going to get passed by many. So I'm sure Josh Schaffner definitely paying attention to his rearview mirror. But like you said, putting pressure on Mullins. He wants to put as many cars in between him and that encroaching, 76 as much as he can.
But and this is the thing. I mean, Schaffner's smart enough. Why not let the 76 go on through and try his luck getting around the 64? I mean, because I'm telling you what, passing is what's turning out to be the biggest venue. And I'm going to tell you, we've got cars scattered all around this racetrack right now, as we still got 14 laps, 15 laps left in this stage. I mean, yeah, we're got racing on every corner. So definitely some guys are finding a little bit more about their setups than I think they wanted to at this point, because, it's just interesting how everything is falling off, Brian.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fall off is definitely happening right now. Don Avery still trying to catch up to Matt DeCiani. DeCiani, I think, just got a little bit of a piece of the wall, as he has been running that wall for the last several laps.
And we talk about that all the time. It's those wall grabbers. That means when you get up there and you run that wall, and all of a sudden it just reaches out there and it grabs you. And when it does, it's going to pull away your momentum. It's going to take your speed. It's going to put a little bit of a ding on your car. Now, here's the thing. Don Avery has been slowly closing that gap. I mean, he is running the one down. And at the rate of the closure that he has, I think DeCiani might be in trouble.
And you also see Don Avery running a little bit closer to the bottom here. And from what I've heard, that saves the tires a lot more when you're running down there. So this is one of those tracks you want to kind of try to run around that yellow line. But then also, I mean, if we have a 10-lap shootout, run the wall. That seems to be the case.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, I don't know who Avery's got in his toolbox or who his crew chief is, but he has definitely got something figured out as we're going into here to this season 4, I believe, of 2023. This dude is definitely here to make a statement, Brian.
Very much so. I'll tell you who's starting to make a statement right now. We saw him go from the front all the way to the back. Mark Sanchez is putting pressure on Jeffrey Souza right now. Sanchez running some really good laps. Looking at the lap times here, Mark Sanchez was faster than the leader.
You know, like we said, it was either systematic or problematic. And I said I thought it was more problematic, but looks like it was definitely more systematic.
Yeah, it looks like it's all going according to plan. He goes underneath the 14 up to the top side. But look at the momentum that Sanchez is able to carry down there. I mean, that 29 is rolling, Big Al.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey Sousa, though, also, you know, instead of burning his tires up, I think he just did the gentleman thing and just kind of backed off a little bit. You know, it's the same thing that Schaffner's done with Mullins. You know, he just kind of give him space. You know, even though Heitman is closing the gap in on Schaffner, he is running his own race, man, and you got to applaud that, because I think that's what everybody needs to be doing right now. As we are under 10 to go here in this stage, I believe it'll be 7 at the line.
Yeah, definitely getting close to the conclusion of this stage. Looks like DeCiani is maintaining the gap right now. He was able to quickly get by Derek Jacobs and has now put him a lap down. Now, Al Kozlowski next on the chopping block. I think he is just far enough away. He won't really have to worry about it. But keep in mind, later in this race, when we have that longer run, it could very well happen to where he ends up going a lap down. I think by the end of this thing, we could see a lot of guys a lap down.
Well, you know, the big thing is going to be these drivers not only got to get through the first stage, because it's not over yet. And here comes the 76 of Derek Heitman. He is now on the high side of Schaffner, battling for what is going to be 4th place, because Darren Mullins is also caught up in this triangle of love, if you will.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely a triangle of love, that's for sure. I'm sure they're going to get really lovey-dovey here in a second if things don't change. There's a little contact from Heitman to the back end of Josh Schaffner. It looks like just a little tap, as now the 76 is going to be trying to make his pass. But, of course, we saw how hard it was for the 50 to pass the 64, so I don't think the 76 is going to have an easy time getting around Schaffner.
Well, I think what happens is, if I'm Josh Schaffner, I let the 76 go. I'll let him get up there and tingle with the 64, and then I just wait for the opportunity to go around both of them. You know, this isn't a situation where you want to tear your car up, man, because we still got a lot of racing left to go. And you see Schaffner giving Heitman plenty of room there down on the bottom side, but he's still going to have to pass Schaffner, but I don't think Schaffner's going to race him that hard.
Well, I don't know, Big Al. I mean, we got, I do believe, now 4 laps to go here in this stage. Those are points that are on the line for Schaffner.
Well, yeah, but if you get taken out now,
That's
you won't
true.
get points at the end of stage 2.
100%. That is
And
a fact.
Josh Schaffner's been in those situations where he is really kind of just lucked out, if you will. And I don't think he's trying to put himself in one of those situations tonight.
That's definitely true. But he's giving him plenty of room. He's racing him like he should here. So hopefully things don't turn out bad. But you see Sanchez getting closer and closer in the review of the 76. This could be a 4-person party here sooner rather than later.
Well, yeah. Seriously, Sweet Cheeks, this is going to happen.
No, 100%. I mean, it's definitely becoming a party. A lot of these guys, similar pace. I'll tell you what, Matt DeCiani is starting to pull away once again. 1.6 seconds is his gap as we're coming up on the white flag for the stage.
Yeah, and you know, is not going to be patient on this. He is definitely going to try to race, because, you know, the end of the stage is just like the end of the race. Drivers are going to do what they got to do to get it done. And also Sanchez now makes his way back up into the picture. So we're going to have ourselves a shootout here, Brian, for what is going to be 4th place. Looks like 1st, 2nd, and 3rd almost probably sorted out. But right now it's going to be the race for 4th place.
Yeah, 100%. Mark Sanchez getting a little bit loose off of that last corner. I think a lot of these guys are starting to trend towards that loose condition. Caution flag should be coming out when Wes Dobbs crosses the line, which should be any time now.
And I'm going to tell you that the end of this stage couldn't come soon enough for some of these drivers, as Schaffner got a little bit overzealous there making contact with Mr. Mullins. right before the caution came out, but that's going to put stage 1 in the books. Matt DeCiani, your stage 1 winner with Don Avery, P2. Kenny Powell comes in third. Darren Mullins in P4. Josh Schaffner, P5. Derek Heitman in 6th. Mark Sanchez in 7th. Jeffrey Souza, 8th. J.C. Evans, 9th. And Wes Dobbs rounds out those top 10 points paying positions with stage 1 in the books. So let's go ahead and take a pause for the calls, and we're going to get a good word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with whoever Brian wants to talk to.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab a ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Drop it.
'Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, a race off of pit road. Matt DeCiani able to win that, and looks like not a whole lot of changes on the exit of pit road. Of course, looks like actually Josh Schaffner falling to the field. Wonder what happened there. Maybe a penalty. But let's talk to our stage 1 winner, Matt DeCiani. How you doing, Matt?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Doing fine, man. It looks like you have a hot rod tonight. I mean, that thing, you started getting caught by Don Avery, but then all of a sudden it started coming right back to you. What's going on? I mean, it seems like you guys definitely were very prepared.
Yeah, just got to manage tires, manage pace, no need to run harder than the other guys behind you. But, I mean, ideally I want to be on the top, but you can't run up there the entire run. But, yeah, I almost wrecked off of 2. I think that's where I lost most of that time.
We did see you have a little contact with the wall a bit. I mean, you see riding right along the rim. I mean, how do you do that? I mean, it seems like a hard thing to do.
Just a lot of practice. It's a lot of feel thing. You kind of just got to play with the throttle. I don't know. I've just been comfortable up here this week just for some reason. It's so bumpy, so just got to find something that works.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Very bumpy racetrack out there. I mean, if you have some butt kickers underneath you, I guarantee you'd be feeling every bump out there. But do you like Rockingham? You having fun?
Yeah, I mean it's a fun track. It's definitely difficult. The racing's been interesting. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, it's a nice change up from what we normally got.
Well, definitely a driver's track, and you're putting it on just like a true driver. We see the pace car lights are out. We'll let you get back to it. Who can we give a shout out to before we let you get back?
Yeah, thanks to you guys in the booth for calling the race. Thanks for Kenny putting on the league, and thanks to DPI for our great setups we get every week.
All righty. Well, thanks for your time, and good luck to you.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was Matt DeCiani, our stage 1 winner, and I'll tell you, he does have a hot rod underneath him, Big Al. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to challenge him here. I mean, I think Avery and Kenny Powell might have it. We'll have to wait and see. I know track position is very important.
Drop me.
Hey, where am I taking you to, Matt? Sorry.
MMR, please. Thanks.
Sorry about that, Brian.
Oh, that is perfectly fine. I thought he was joining us in the broadcast. Here we go, though. Pace car getting ready to take that left down pit road. And we're going to get this thing back underway for stage number 2. Of course, this one goes to 105 to 106. And here's the green flag back out in the air. What a start from DeCiani. What a start from Kenny Powell. He might even take over second here.
Yeah, not sure what happened with Derek Jacobs, but he finds himself a couple laps down where he should have been back on the lead lap. We'll have to monitor that.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Green flag racing commences, though. Josh Schaffner getting into J.C. Evans just a little bit. Schaffner comes in hot on the turn. He's coming in hot. Wow, making it around Souza also. Way to go. Definitely trying to get himself up to the front. This stage not being as long as the last. It's going to be twice as interesting.
Yeah, and you got to think, I mean, Josh Schaffner probably feeling an air of desperation just considering I think he might have got some type of EOL on pit road during the yellow flag, and he fell all the way back to 10th. But he is making his way back up. Heck of a recovery right in 6th right now, trying to challenge for 5th as he goes underneath Darren Mullins. New leader, though, Big Al, Kenny Powell.
That's definitely got to make Powell feel pretty good about his setup tonight.
And we talked about it.
You know, Powell's going to put in more laps, I guarantee you, this week than anybody out here. He is going to run every A Open. He's going to be, up there till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get it dialed in. And Don Avery not going to even let him enjoy it. He is going to pressure him the whole way through in Avery form.
Yeah, he definitely is putting a lot of pressure on him, trying to go to the top, see if maybe we can't take that position away. Gets a good run, but I don't think he's going to get it done. I'll tell you, the person is struggling now, even though they had a super dominant stage number 1. Matt DeCiani, now he is being passed by Schaffner. Schaffner now up in the top 3. And here comes Don Avery on the top side by side, neck and neck for the lead, and Avery's got it.
Yeah, but Powell's not going to give it. He's going to make him work for it, and they are still fresh on their tires. 2 Toyotas battling side by side. This is going to be anybody's race. I don't think it's over just yet, though, Brian.
Let's take a look through the cockpit camera of the 50. Watch him come through here as he's going to start to put some pressure on the 24 himself. And when I was looking through the cockpits earlier, Big Al, I did notice that, the EPI, Derek Heitman, Matt DeCiani, both running 5th gear setups. These guys here running 4th. So a little bit of a difference here.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be a difference in just degradation of the hardware, the engine, the way these guys are going to be getting off the corners. It's probably going to definitely play into their benefit as these runs get longer and longer in the race here, Brian.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, of course, with the different gear changes and stuff, you burn different amount of fuel as well. So, curious to see how this looks, what happens here. But Don Avery, what if he gets 3 in a row? I mean, it's still so much racing left to go.
Come on, man, really?
I'm
that's like trying to figure out who's going to win the next presidential election. I mean, we got a long way to go here, people. But look,
That's
here,
true.
I'm going to tell you. Wes Dobbs, though, finding himself up to 6th place now. Yeah, he started in 7th, but that's still good for him, though, Brian. Because, Wes Dobbs started in 11th. Sorry about that. Now he is running up in 6th place. That's a good, solid run for him. If these guys can keep that momentum going and get themselves a solid points day for the end of this stage, man, they're going to be on to something.
Yeah, for sure, and he's doing a good job. I mean, he's holding off Darren Mullins. Of course, Jeffrey Souza right there behind him. I mean, I think, Wes Dobbs has been trending in a really good direction here as of late. We're 60 laps into this thing, still a long way to go. Looking at lap times, I mean, definitely running some good laps. I mean, Wes Dobbs was definitely right there with those guys on lap times, and you love to see it. Definitely he's going to hate me for this, but he's kind of an older guy, and I'll tell you what, he's got the spirit to try to drive this car and try to get some wins.
What does that even mean? I mean, he's a kind of an older guy. Come on, man. Keep up with the times. Speaking of trending, Mark Sanchez is trending, but actually in the wrong direction. He started in 2nd. Now he finds himself all the way back at the tail end of the pack here, Brian. And it doesn't look like he's gaining. It looks like he's losing now. Now, like I said before, maybe it was systematic, and I'm going to hope that it is systematic. I think he made it all the way up to 5th place at the end of stage 1.
He definitely made it well up into the top 10. I think he was in 6th, I do believe, or something like that. But he was slow in the beginning, and looking at his lap times right now, he's turning the fastest laps on the track. So I think that he lets the first 5 laps kind of get the tires gradually warmed up and then gets after it.
We got a big right there, man, as Wes Dobbs, Darren Mullins, and Jeffrey Souza all shaking hands there with the clock, man. I don't know what was happening, but it looks like they was trying to turn a red car into a blue car and a blue car into a red car, and that's just wrong.
Well, it's Rockingham. There's going to be some cars that are
there was some rocking going on, that's for sure. Gentlemen, drive your own cars. Get out that man's lap. It ain't right.
And, of course, Wes Dobbs doing a great job, though, catching up to Derek Heitman. I mean, Heitman just not looking as good as he usually does. I'm wondering if maybe this is just not a track that suits him. I mean, usually we see him right up in the lead.
Like I said, I'm wondering if because he was playing some kind of NASCAR video game. I think it was NASCAR. I don't want to say NASCAR Heat 95 or something like that, and they had all these tracks. Well, Rockingham would have probably been on there. That's what he attributes his success to. And who am I to argue with the man that's winning? You know what I mean? Because he's doing what he's got to. I mean, this dude is on a tear. He came in here out of nowhere, man, and he started making stuff happen. And he made us take notice. So,
oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, most tracks we go to, that's his first time being on that track, and I wouldn't. Like you said, if he's coming from one of those heat games or something like that, Rockingham might not have been in there. This is a track that a lot of guys aren't really that familiar with because it's not on the NASCAR schedule.
But I want to say this about it. When he came into this league, it was a real conversation that occurred because, you know, it was a different field than it is now. It had a different feel than it does now. And the thing was, he was kind of aggressive. So it was almost like, well, hey, young buck, you know, we got it. You're a bull. But, you know, I mean, he was up there mixing it up. And his iRacing time didn't really kind of meld in, if you will. But I'm going to say now his racecraft, that's the word I'm going to say. That's what's garnered him the most respect that he has. It's all about his racecraft.
Yeah, he's a very friendly guy and you know, has tried to better himself even with, you know, he's, like you said, came in real fast, but then you kind of get those lessons paid to you. Race with the guys enough times and, you know, you have conversations with them. They tell you exactly, you know, what's going on, like how you rub me the wrong way or something like that, you know. But we do have some action going on. Jeffrey Souza trying to get around Darren Mullins, gets loose, still side by side.
Got a little going on there, and that definitely cost him that opportunity. But now he is going to try to put the hammer down and get the run off the turn. You know, and in some tracks, that's a great thing. But in this track, it's not seeming to work out for the guy that's on the low side, as Mullins is still right there, kind of being that gnat, if you will. But looks like Souza now gets the drive off that he wanted. He is going to go ahead and take advantage of the position up the P7 for him again.
Yeah, definitely. Great pass there for Jeffrey Souza, able to get the momentum right when he needed it to and slid up and kind of chased it out, which is what you kind of have to do it at Rockingham. And it's not a track to where, you know, you really want to have narrow exits. You want to get off as wide as you possibly can, take advantage, especially when it comes to the banking changes at this place. It's almost a lot like how Dover is when it comes to the banking changes. But Don Avery still in the lead, about a half a second lead.
You know, you better hope that I have a short memory, because if you ever compare anything in North Carolina to something in Delaware, again, we gonna have ourselves a problem.
Oh Lord! Look at this, DeCiani all the way up to the top. He is trying desperately to get around Josh Schaffner, but Schaffner is still able to carry so much speed on the bottom. DeCiani's he's having a hard time passing right now. And this is what we kind of worried about earlier with DeCiani. If he lost track position, would he be as good?
Yeah, but here comes Mark Sanchez. You know, he is doing now what he did earlier. He kind of stayed back, bided his time, and now he is on a run, man. He's kind of starting to – it's like his car comes alive right about 26 to 30 laps in the run.
And that's going to be really valuable later in this race. After this stage, absolutely. When it gets to the long run, that's going to be real valuable. I mean, he could end up, a little tag with the wall there for him, but he's not losing too much momentum. And that's one thing about these next-gen cars that are unlike the Gen 6 and the trucks and the Xfinity. You know, you touch the wall with these things, a lot of times you might not lose all of your momentum, and the car still holds together.
Yeah, kind of get that Ross Chastain ability.
Yeah, these are some tough cars. As now here comes Sanchez trying to work on the 72. Looks like he gets underneath. And I think he's going to get this pass done. That Mark Sanchez is looking like a straight-up rocket right now.
Matt DeCiani falling way back now. He finds himself in third place as Don Avery, our leader, still carrying the torch.
Well, actually, Big Al, Matt DeCiani has gotten by Josh Schaffner. He was trying to battle with Schaffner for that third place position and now has taken it and is running down Kenny Powell. Now, Powell is pretty close to Avery, so this is going to be a big battle for this lead. Because DeCiani trending in the right direction right now.
Don't bet against Don Avery, ladies and gentlemen. He is the guy who is the hot hand right now in this league.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's the points leader in both Thursday and Saturday. I mean, come on now. You can't doubt him. And the thing is, you got to keep in mind, Kenny Powell, he's in the dirty air right now. He's got to go through the hard process of actually passing Avery. This track is, we always say it. It's one thing to catch someone, it's another thing completely to pass. I think this track is that on steroids.
I said that, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I meant.
I've said it before, too. That's a general one. I don't think you can claim ownership of that.
Oh, come on, man. Hey, Derek Jacobs found himself down pit road. I think he is going to withdraw from the competition. Maybe he hit the wall. I'm not sure what actually occurred, but just wanted to let everybody know what was going on. But, man, look at Don Avery go. Matt DeCiani, Don Avery, Kenny Powell, Josh Schaffner. These guys right now are the lead. They're the breakaway pack. So right now, everything that's going to go on as this stage starts to put itself closer to being in the books is going to be what's occurred right here between these four individuals. Now, we do have racing that's going on elsewhere on the racetrack. Because Matt DeCiani, man, he has taken the high line.
Yeah, he mentioned that, though, in his interview. He said he didn't want, he would love to run that high line all race long, but for some reason he said he shouldn't. So that makes me think that burns the tires up. Could he be doing that right now?
I think he's just trying to catch up with these guys. You understand what I'm saying? I think he is doing whatever he can to kind of close that gap between himself and Kenny Powell.
He is running faster right now than Kenny Powell and Don Avery.
But don't count Avery out. I think Avery has a good pace. He understands the dynamic of longevity. So, therefore, I mean, I think he is doing exactly, he knows how fast and how hard to drive the car. Remember, Matt DeCiani had this huge lead in the last stage, and then all of a sudden it dwindled down. I think Avery's just more comfortable keeping a closer lead so that way he can kind of maintain a consistent race pace.
Yeah, he's definitely doing a good job of that. I mean, he's had Kenny Powell right there behind him for the last several laps, and Kenny Powell has not been able to make anything happen. DeCiani still going right next to the wall. I mean, inches off of it. I mean, that's a Larson line if I've ever seen one. But top three right on top of each other here. Only a couple tenths separate them. Here comes DeCiani now trying to get up there to see if he can't get side by side with Kenny Powell. 84 laps into this race, of course. Stage ends on 105 to 106.
Oh, yeah. 20 laps left in the stage. I mean, I don't know if it's go time, but Matt is definitely signaling that it is go time.
Of course, he's wanting to get those back-to-back stage victories. I mean, we even saw it, I do believe, on Saturday where I think Chris Severa actually got more points, I do believe, than Don Avery just because of the stage finishes he got. So those stage points are so important. I mean, they can outpoint a win.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to consistently finish. So that means you got to be up in the front. You have to race. You know, this isn't a league that's going to allow you to cherry pick if you.
Oh, Powell into the wall hard.
Powell's pushing it. I mean, he's out here to race.
100%. Looks like he's might lose this second place position. DeCiani now on the bottom. Now, this is not a place he might like to be. He's been favoring the top. We'll see if he's able to maintain. And look at who's entering the party. Josh Schaffner. He said, I'm back.
I mean,
when they start battling, that's when the other guys start to catch up. And look at Derek Heitman. Heitman's been running these guys down as well.
Man, but look at that line that Matt DeCiani is running.
Yeah, it is something, the way he just goes right up to the top of the track.
Can we get a ride along on him?
There we go, got that. We can see, look how close he gets to this wall. I mean, I would be, there ain't no way I'd get that close to that wall. Look at the run he gets. He's going to almost bump draft Kenny Powell.
And here he comes again, taking that high line. That's what we call that Larson line. And, you know, he is also running a 5th gear setup, which is opposed to Kenny's 4th gear setup. But usually it seems like that car would kind of bog down because of being in 5th gear. But he is making it work, being able to get back on the throttle so much sooner than Powell.
And I think that's why he's running the top, because when he goes down to the bottom, he probably gets a little bit more bogged down. But he's running up here on the top. He's able to maintain higher speeds and not bog that engine down.
Yeah, and Powell's just, I mean, that definitely can't be making him happy, because nobody wants somebody that's right there on that rear quarter, because now your spotter's talking to you a whole lot more than you want your spotter to be talking to you.
And
you
look who has showed up now. Derek Heitman right on the rear end of Schaffner.
And once again, now Schaffner's spotter's starting to go off, and he's like, man, it was so much better when I didn't have somebody right there on the inside now, which is where Heitman is, and he is making that move. He is going to pass Schaffner. Schaffner now on the high side. It's going to make him work for it just a little bit. Got a double dance going on here as Heitman's going to advance his position. DeCiani now doing everything that he can to get around Powell, and guess what? Powell's going to return the favor, and he's going to put just that much pressure onto 11 of Avery.
Top 5 all right here within a second of one another. This is a crazy battle, and we still have plenty of racing left to go. Oh, up into the wall again. DeCiani is definitely taking a lot of liberties by hitting that wall. I mean, I know these cars are tough, but they can't handle that much. We'll have to hope he doesn't bend any toe links or anything like that. But it does look like he has gotten the pass completed on Kenny Powell.
Yeah, but it costs him a pound of flesh, though, because the wall giveth, the wall taketh away. Now he's going to try to reel in Don Avery, but, you know, Avery, I don't think is going to, like, let him just kind of come up there. But there's DeCiani again making that contact. Even though that contact, very insignificant as it might seem, it is going to start to add up as Powell definitely shrugged off a lot of speed, and Heitman made his way around Kenny Powell. That's going to put him up into 3rd place. So he's got to be feeling pretty good about his run as he started all the way back in 7th here tonight, Brian.
Yeah, and I've noticed we were talking about DeCiani hitting the wall a lot. Kenny Powell's been doing the same thing. He just keeps getting into the wall and exit rather than in the middle of the corner. So I do believe that car seems to be starting to tight up.
And Matt DeCiani just plows through Don Avery right there. I don't know if that contact, I don't know if it was contact. I don't see how it could have not been contact. Avery just kind of spun his tires. I do believe that DeCiani got a heck of a run, and that's going to put Don Avery all the way back in 3rd place now.
I want to see if we can't get an eye on this, if they did have any contact here. See, Avery gets a huge run, or I'm sorry, Matt DeCiani gets a huge run. Oh, Avery got into the wall, and then DeCiani got into his rear end.
And now Heitman is all the way up in the 2nd place, but Matt DeCiani is back up front where he really feels the most comfortable, and I think that's where he's going to try to stay. Avery's going to be battling Heitman, though, trying to make sure he can get his share back, but once again, drives it a little bit too hard. Sorry about that, Don, and we are less than 10 laps before we put this stage in the books. I think it'll be 7 at the line, and go, Matt, go, is what his crew chief is saying right now.
Yeah, he's telling him to get away from all those drivers, because I'll tell you what, there's definitely a cluster of drivers back here, a gaggle of race cars, if you will. Kenny Powell up on the top, battling with his teammate Josh Schaffner, but look who's in the picture now, Jeffrey Souza right there. As we close in on the halfway point of this race, just 2 laps to go until we're at that 100-lap mark. And Josh Schaffner has taken over 4th place, but now Kenny Powell has to deal with Souza.
Yeah, Jeffrey Souza doing exactly what he needs to do, just being right there. Souza overdrives it, has to throttle through it, pedal, pedal, pedal. I don't know if he's going to actually be able to get that main. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to make that ground back up.
Also, Derek Heitman has started slowly but surely inching closer and closer to Matt DeCiani. Of course, these guys have so much respect for one another now, side by side for the lead. Derek Heitman trying to take away the stage victory that Matt DeCiani so craves.
Yeah, but Heitman was on a tear. I mean, he almost had a laser to number one. I mean, that's what he was trying to do. And I don't mean it, as in the one of Matt DeCiani, but I mean in the one as in first place, because that's where he was definitely trying to drive that car to get to. So good on him. And I think right now it's going to be these two battling just for a little bit, because Matt's not going to want to relinquish that position too easily, Brian.
Yeah, even though they are on the same team, I'm sure that is not going to be a team call. Matt DeCiani, these guys race each other. They're not going to, they're almost like how we see a lot of the G&G guys do. Even though they're on the same team, they still want to win. And that urge to win really supersedes teammates. And there goes Derek Heitman. Almost gets clear. A little bit of a loose condition. That's going to allow Matt DeCiani to stay up on the top side. Just a handful of laps left to go.
Yeah, Avery fighting for his life as Josh Schaffner has dialed him in as well.
And I'm wondering if the hit on the wall maybe hurt Avery a lot more than we suspected.
Oh, he can't wait to get that thing down pit road. And the cool thing about those stage breaks gives you an opportunity. Oh, Kitty Powell going to have to go see his maintenance man as well.
Yeah, I think that might give momentum enough to Jeffrey Souza possibly to take that position away.
I mean, Powell just got smacked by Mike Tyson, so he's going to feel that one, if not this lap, but definitely going to feel it in the next 7 laps, because that was a pretty solid blow.
Yeah, he's going to be wanting to get down pit road, get a fresh set of shoes on, and let his crew look over it. That is for sure. Hopefully able to get that car worked on a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Definitely going to have some optional repairs in. That's definitely, no matter what, it's going to affect the handling of your car. You just got to accept that fact. You hit the wall, it's going to take a toll.
That it is, as we are on the white flag for the stage. Derek Heitman up in the lead right now, has about a half a second on Matt DeCiani as he goes through 3 and 4 here. DeCiani all the way back up at the top once again. Of course, we have to wait for Darren Mullins to actually cross the start-finish line, which he is about 15 seconds back. Caution should be coming out any time now. Looks like the positions are pretty well settled. And there it is. Derek Heitman, of course, your Stage 2 winner. Matt DeCiani finishing in second. Third place, Josh Schaffner. Fourth place, Don Avery. Fifth place, Jeffrey Souza. Sixth place, Kenny Powell. Seventh place, Mark Sanchez. Eighth place, Wes Dobbs. Ninth, Al Kozlowski. And 10th, Darren Mullins. So all those guys will be getting some much-needed stage points. And with that, we'll take a brief step away. We'll be right back with whoever Big Al feels like talking to.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and looks like Josh Schaffner able to win the race off of pit road. Matt DeCiani coming out in second. Derek Heitman comes out in third, and I think Big Al is standing by with Derek Heitman, our Stage 2 winner.
Hey, Mr. Heitman, it's Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
What's going on?
Hey, man, not much. We're sitting here speculating on what your experience level was with this track, because usually you swoop in at the end, win the race, and say, "Oh, it's my first time." That's not your voice, but
Pretty close. Pretty close.
so what is your experience level on this track?
This is my third race. I've only ran 2 A Opens this week. This is race number 3. Race number 1, I finished 21st and was very upset with myself. So I just ran the last one, which was my second race, got a P5. And then I think I learned something a little more in stage 1 of this race, as far as saving the tires. So we'll see how it treats me in stage 3.
You care to share? Okay. I'm not
There's just, I know there's ears. I know there's ears. I don't want to tell people how to drive the. I want to tell my competition how to drive the track. You know what I'm saying?
Understood, sir. Understood. But man, you seem to be very comfortable in the car tonight. You started this thing in 7th. You already came up. You got yourself a stage win. What can we expect to see from you guys here as this third and final stage emerges?
Well, hopefully some more long run pace. Hopefully you don't see me get ran over and wrecked here, because my starting off pace is a lot slower than everybody else's. So we're gonna try to keep it in one piece here and try to bring it home P1.
All right. I know you got to get back to work before we let you go. Anybody want to give a mini shout out to here before you get back to business?
Michael Conti. I mean, he built us a really good set this week. I'm not the best at driving it. I'm getting my butt whooped by EPI drivers in A Opens, but it's all a learning experience, and that's what EPI is all about, is developing you and making you better. So for first week ever being at this track, I think I'm doing all right.
Sir, get back at it. Good luck to you. Hope to see you at the end of this thing.
Thanks, guys.
That was Derek Heitman, your Stage 2 winner, and it looks like the green flag is getting ready to come back out as Barney the Paceman takes that left-hand turn onto pit road, and there it is. Green flag's out. Josh Schaffner guns it, catches everybody sleeping.
Even you, before you were even done talking about the pace guy, Josh was already off in a way. Matt DeCiani out to the outside. I'm sure Schaffner has a strategy. That's the reason why he is running away like he is, but I think it has to do something with clean air, Brian.
Yeah, definitely. But DeCiani back up to the top. Look at that. Kenny Powell side by side with Derek Heitman. Heitman, of course, mentioned that he does not have the fire-off pace in his interview. So we're seeing that kind of directly on your screen. Kenny Powell, of course, looks like he was defeated there by DeCiani. DeCiani takes over second place. 1.4 seconds to Josh Schaffner. I mean, Schaffner is taking advantage. He's trying to run away. He wants to build up as much of a gap as he possibly can at this point. And this is not usual Josh Schaffner behavior, wouldn't you say?
I know, but like I said, I don't think this is problematic. I think it's systematic. The key is if he can get out there and build that lead up, he's going to put that much pressure on these guys going down pit road. Now, a lot of these guys been running A Opens, but I guarantee you one thing they haven't had to do in A Opens is green flag pit stops. That's something that is going to be, that's a probability here. I mean, that's a reality that they're going to have to contend with, because that's just what happens in the ISCA. So even though it's just a little light on the dash, drivers still have to start thinking about that.
Yeah, they definitely do have to, for sure. I mean, we talked about it before, 68 laps is what you can make it. Now, of course, we just went back green just a few laps ago, so I would assume, I'm thinking you probably pit around the 50 mark, or, 150, maybe 155, somewhere in there possibly. Maybe go longer. I don't know. I mean, I know you're one that always loves to recommend the long, pit kind of.
Long pit's going to put them at about $1.53, so 153, lap 153 is when they would actually pit. So I don't know, Brian. We're going to have to see how this plays out. I think it's going to be, and that is if they're, pushing that way. But I think that's what most drivers are going to do, because it'll give you the bigger bang at the end. You'll be able to go faster for a shorter period of time.
100%. And we see Al Kozlowski trying to work on the 9 of J.C. Evans. Of course, Mark Sanchez also right there in the picture.
Yeah, right now these guys are just trying to see exactly what they can do. Here comes the 64, Darren Mullins. He's going to be running that high line. Almost going to have ourselves a 3-wide situation there, but I don't know if the bull I'd want to buck would be the 88 of Keselowski, because that bull bucks back. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, he definitely does for sure. And 3 wide, definitely a rarity here at Rockingham, but it does happen.
Jeffrey Souza, though, down way low, as he actually was on the inside of that yellow line, running a very unusual line for himself. But I'm sure he is using that stint analyzer, as they so like to promote.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it's a great product, to be honest with you. Don Avery, though, has moved up into 4th place position, got by Derek Heitman. Now Souza is trying to do exactly the same thing. 118 laps into this thing. I was worried about a 200-lap race, Big Al, but I'll tell you what, this thing's flying right on by.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, from where we're sitting up here, we get the beer and the hot dogs and the hot chicks. So we're kind of, I think we're getting the better end of the deal on this one.
Yeah, and I even talked to some of the guys before the race, and, Al Kozlowski in particular, and he was mentioning that, we're going to be real beat up after this race. And he was referring to just the physical, nature of this racetrack. I mean, the bumps and everything with these guys having to force feedback.
Yeah. I mean, I got it, but that's why they get paid the big bucks, man. Come on.
That's right. I get tired just looking at them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they wanted to be heroes, so we're here to commentate on how well they're doing,
I'll tell you, they definitely are doing it right now. I mean, the Rock.
There you go.
The Rock's a difficult track for sure, and, you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, it even had some phenomenal finishes in real life, man. So these guys right here, I don't think it's going to be anything short of that. Now I was just joking. It does take a beating on these guys actually sitting there in your rig, having to do this, because it's mentally draining,
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, especially this track itself. I mean, with all the bumps and stuff like that, I've even heard some guys getting a little nauseous. Looking through your. You looking through your windscreen. I mean, I couldn't imagine being in VR in this or having a butt kicker on or anything like that. Because, I mean, if you look through the cockpit, you see the bump, the big bumps.
That's the only way I party, baby. I got the butt kickers and the VR. Because you got to get down if you're going to get down. You know what I mean? That's the 100%. Big Al way. We overdo it.
Now, Josh Schaffner, of course, was out to about a 1.7 second lead earlier. Now has decreased to a 1 second lead over Matt DeCiani. Now, is he slowing down on purpose?
No, I mean, it's what's going to happen. I mean, with 77 laps to go, I mean, I think he's just running this race. Mark Sanchez now going on the inside of Derek Heitman. This right here is going to be the battle for what I believe to be 6th place.
Yeah, and Heitman did mention that, he did not have good fire-off speed. But when it came to the long run, he just showed up out of nowhere, and I think he's still going to do that here.
Sanchez
3 wide.
A 3 wide situation there, Brian.
Yeah, J.C. Evans was on the top. Darren Mullins was on the bottom. Al Kozlowski going to try to take advantage of Sanchez's mistake.
Yeah, I don't think that wound's healed just yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because I think we're still going to be bleeding from this orifice here for a while.
100%. Surprised at how good Kenny Powell's car is handling right now after so many contacts with the wall, and Don Avery as well. I mean, we saw these guys hit the wall several times, and surprisingly, their cars are still holding up. I mean, Kenny Powell holding 3rd place, Don Avery right now in that 4th place position. But, of course, there are going to be some symptoms, I'm assuming, still from those that contact. The crew can't fix everything.
I mean, Keselowski way loose there, having to pedal through the turn. Not sure what was going on with that, but I think right now with 20 laps on our tires, this is about the time where we see things start to fall apart. As Darren Mullins right there on the back of J.C. Evans. Evans doing everything he can to stay on the bumper of Heitman, but Heitman is starting to pull away. This is when he said his car started to come alive, and I think he's demonstrating that as Evans starts to lose it, just trying to keep up with him.
Into the wall a little bit there for J.C. Evans. That Oreo car definitely going to be a little bit of a cracked up cookie in a second if you don't watch out. Oh, more contact. Mark Sanchez.
To the wall.
So definitely some big battling going on back here.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of battling, I mean, Matt DeCiani really starting to run down Josh Schaffner. I mean, this is he's now 2/10 behind him here. I mean, you really Schaffner, if he's looked out that rearview mirror, he's seeing him getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and also Kenny Powell not far back as well. Heck, you never know. That contact with the wall for Kenny Powell could have made his car better. You don't know. I mean, Rockingham is an upside down kind of track, I tell you.
You believe in leprechauns, do you? Come on now, you know dang well that car's not going to handle. Well, you know what? The last race we did have somebody that say that their car they hit the wall and it was they hit the wall and it made the car drive better.
Yeah, I mean it's crazier things have happened. That is for sure. As Derek Heitman is starting to pull away from Darren Mullins, he's of course now going to try to chase down Jeffrey Souza, but has about 3 seconds to get up there to Souza. As you can see,
what we got here
on the screen
is we've got 2 discernible packs on the racetrack, and I think that's going to be the tail of the race. As all the way back from Josh Schaffner all the way back to Jeffrey Souza, that is what makes up the first pack. That's 5 cars. That second pack is going to be Heitman all the way back to Dobbs. So that's going to be our 2 pit groups, and I think they're probably going to pit on 2 different laps as well, Brian.
Yeah, definitely. Could very well be the case. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, pit stops are coming up fairly soon as we have a really great right rear camera here coming off of Josh Schaffner. You can really see just the effects of the banking here. Just really deep or really big, steep angles at this track.
Yeah, excellent camera work there. I mean, but I want to talk about the different tools that these drivers are utilizing, because we do have a little bit of time right now. And actually right now, if the caution were to come out, we would actually be good to go to the end of the race. But I don't think it's an issue of tires, of fuel. I mean, I don't think it's an issue of fuel. I think it's an issue of tires. But I want to talk about the different tools that different drivers are utilizing, whether that's from a setup coach, stint analyzer. You know what I mean? All of these drivers are utilizing different things in order to keep their pace. You know what? But they're all yet driving around the same track. So isn't that amazing? The technology that goes into this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, to have something that will tell you exactly lap times you're turning out there, you know, stint analyzer and things of that nature. You know, there's a lot of different programs out there, and you know, I think it's only going to get crazier and crazier. Big Al. I mean, you know, AI and stuff like that. I mean, you know, I mean, Skynet might be born on iRacing. You never know.
But even to where these guys get their setups at, I mean, all of that goes into this because, I mean, you have to figure this out. I mean, it takes a while. As Wes Dobbs now starts to dive down in, he is starting to try to make himself up a little bit of distance.
Yeah, of course, Wes Dobbs earlier was running up, I think, highest position, 6th place. Now is sitting, I do believe, now trying to take over 10th, and he takes it from J.C. Evans there. So he's definitely on the move, and Al Kozlowski's not that far out in front of him right now.
Yeah, and one thing Kozlowski says, I mean, it's kind of like a kid that don't like carrots. Al Kozlowski doesn't like to save tires. So if we're just watching him, he is probably going to be our signature ace to start to figure out when these guys can be taking tires.
You know what's so crazy, though, Big Al, is we saw Josh Schaffner being quickly caught by Matt DeCiani. He was within 2/10 of him. DeCiani is now a second back from Schaffner. So I don't know if maybe we talked about clean versus dirty air, maybe not having a big effect on the cars here, but I think that it might very well have somewhat of an effect on DeCiani here. I mean, because it seemed like the closer he got to Schaffner, the worse that car seemed to start handling.
Well, I also said that we had a 2 discernible packs. Well, Josh Schaffner just said, hey, you know what? Screw you, Big Al. And now he is just spread the salt, baby. Because, I mean, he is putting on a clinic as Schaffner is out in a way, Brian. And that top 5 is starting to even separate.
And one thing that's kind of interesting to note as well, I mean, we saw Derek Heitman in stage number 2 drove all the way to the front, took the stage win, and now he's still in 6th right now. I mean, I thought we would see him shooting the fireworks off earlier than now. I mean, we're reaching that time to where we have to pit soon.
No. He knows exactly what he's doing, and I think these guys are going to try to make it at least until lap 152. I think that's where I had it set in my mind that they will be going to, and right now we are at lap 141. So within 10. Let's see how close I am.
I'm going to go with 58. Just to be different. We'll see. But look at this. So here comes Heitman. He's trying to take the 14th position away, and looks like he's going to do it, entering back up into the top 5 now. But he has 7 seconds to go to get up to the leader, Josh Schaffner.
And that's not – I don't think you're going to try to make that time up on the racetrack. That is the time that you got to start focusing. You got to get dialed in now, because you got to have to stop the pit. And right now, that's going to be the wavery point. How long do we put? I think everybody's taking 4 tires, and everybody's taking fuel. The question is going to be, how much fuel does everybody have to take?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I mean, do you take less fuel? But then again, we know for a fact, though, Big Al, that even the 75% fuel tank that we have featured in ISCA changes the handling of the race car. So if you take less fuel, does that also possibly hurt you?
Well, I think it gives you a greater known. It's a lot easier variable when you're looking at 50% than it is trying to calculate 75.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't even know if it works that way, because, right now everybody will have enough fuel to make it to the end of this thing. So we do know that. The question is going to be tire management, because that is what's going to come into play with this.
Of course, these guys have been out here for now 37 laps. So 37 laps on these tires, definitely quite a bit of wear.
It's still not the longest run that they've had yet. They've had to have a very long run. The longest run they had, I believe, would have been right around 47 laps. So these guys are still, you still got to stay in it. You still got to make it work. And I think you got to make it work for a little while yet.
Mark Sanchez starting to close in on Jeffrey Souza here. Going to be seeing if he can't get up into that 6th place position. I'll tell you, Sanchez has just been impressing me every single race. Here comes Souza and Derek Heitman both down pit road.
Yeah, that's an impressive call, Brian, because
early.
There's a lot of, I don't know. That's a long run if you're trying to one pit it.
It could work, but it's gonna. When you get to the end of the race, your tires are gonna be barking at you. I tell you that.
And that's ultimately what I'm saying. I don't know how many other drivers are going to bite to come in quite this early. So far, just those two. Certainly, they'll be working together.
And could it have been possibly a judgment call or a change they made on the setup and maybe didn't like it and just had to come down early? Because I don't feel like Heitman was near as quick as he was in stage 2. Maybe the track has changed. The rubber on the track could have caused changes to the car.
And these two guys aren't even on the same team, so that even makes it beg the difference. But here comes the 64. And he was really kind of loose there getting down pit road, trying to get down to the speed that he needed.
Hey, this is a difficult track to pit at, 100%. I mean, you got to think of how steep that banking is, and I hate to do it. I know you're going to give me a little bit of crap for this. But, Delaware, Dover, Delaware, when you come off of that pit road, the banking is so different. And it's the same thing here at Rockingham.
Yeah, not sure. I think the guys that are pitting needed to pit. And that goes without saying, but I don't know if these guys are going to be able to make it to the end of the race without having to pit again.
Yeah, maybe even just for tires, because it's now I think now is when the your guess 152 is starting to come up. So I think we might see some guys pit here soon, possibly. But I think Schaffner's definitely in it for the long game here. Now, Matt DeCiani has been bleeding a ton of time to Schaffner. He could be one that decides to pit early, try to get some track position.
But once again, though, it's kind of like, yeah, you can make it to the end on fuel, but what was the problem with your tires? That's the question that I ask, because no one has been able to run it this long on tires unless they have got the data from their open race and they know that they could go this many laps, and that's what they're putting in. That very well could be the strategy here, Brian.
Yeah, it could very well be. I'll tell you what. I think a lot of these guys are struggling quite a bit. It's starting to weigh on them. we'll have to wait and see what the decisions are going to be. I mean, how do you solve that issue? Like you said, if you're pitting early, you're doing it for a reason.
Well, I get paid to sit here and run my mouth, so that's what I'm going to do.
Oh, yeah, me too. You see DeCiani, though, he has been bleeding so much time to Schaffner. There's something going on here that I don't get paid enough to know. I mean, Schaffner's got almost 4 seconds of a lead right now. And DeCiani's not handling the same. I think that it could be rubber laid down. I mean, these guys have been running all over this track, Big Al, and rubber's been laid down all over the place. I mean,
that's that long run handling is what that is, man. And obviously, Schaffner had something figured out that no matter what, 6 seconds, is, Don Avery's down pit road.
Yep, Don Avery to pit here, the 11 car.
What lap is this?
155.
Yep, that's right in between what you said and what I said. So
and here comes Schaffner. Yeah, I guess we both kind of were right, huh?
Yep. I mean, yeah, you said 158, I said 152, man. So you don't
pretty
get
much
no
dead in the middle.
Yeah.
Josh Schaffner, though, leader to pit road. I think Kenny Powell also as well.
Yep, this is going to be that green flag pit window. This is when everybody's going to be coming in. And that's manageable too, Brian, because now you're looking at you've got 45 laps to go. That's your first run setup. You know how hard you need to push it. And unfortunately, you know how hard you're going to have to push it in order to catch the leader.
And here comes Wes Dobbs, of course, going to be coming down the pit road. Al Kozlowski and I believe J.C. Evans still out on the racetrack.
And I love that call. I mean, I love the call of Evans and Kozlowski to stay out. I say you stay out as long as you can because now they're going to be making up distance no matter how you slice it. And they'll be able to drive off a lot faster, longer, and that's going to be the key here.
Yeah, for sure. These guys definitely, and if a caution or something comes out, I mean, they could lock some guys a lap down. I'm sure that would be good.
I think you and I were both right because a lot of guys are going to push it to where you said at 158, and then a lot of guys came in when I said, you know what I mean? So
100%. Now, of course, one thing I think the biggest story right now, Derek Heitman and Jeffrey Souza pitted very much a lot earlier than Josh Schaffner did. They are in front of him, but not by as much as you'd want to be, I'd say.
J.C. Evans now coming down pit road. That's going to leave just the lone Kozlowski, the only driver that's still out. Right now he has got 51 laps on his tires. Think he's going to be slowing down, getting ready to come down pit road himself.
And that will make Derek Heitman your leader. Of course, he has Jeffrey Souza right there on his rear end. And only about 3 or 4 seconds back is Josh Schaffner. Now, one thing we learned was don't matter how good your tires are, it seems like track position is pretty key here. So hard to pass. Can Schaffner overcome? Does he overdrive it? Possibly. But then again, I thought he was overdriving it at the beginning of this stage. And somehow he drove away.
I want to give Josh a nickname for tonight's race. Can I do that?
Oh,
sure. I have your permission.
Corn Man, I say.
Well, tonight I'm going to call him Iceman.
The Iceman cometh.
I'm calling him Iceman tonight. I mean, because that's what he's ice. Tonight, this is Josh's race to lose, is what I'm saying. I'm going to go ahead and project this now because this guy has the speed. And, he put the distance up before the pit stop. So I think everybody's going to have to watch how that, because you still are going to have to negate that distance. And plus, how long was his pit stop?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Josh Schaffner is multiple tenths faster than Derek Heitman and Jeffrey Souza. Looking at his pit stop time was 14.75, which was a little bit slower than the top two. Of course, that makes sense, actually, just considering Heitman and Souza did not have to put as much fuel into the car.
Their tires are going to fall off a lot faster as well.
Oh, they already are. I mean, like I said, Josh Schaffner, multiple tenths faster than both of those drivers. But I'll tell you who's faster than even Schaffner is DeCiani. But DeCiani, of course, we saw before, not quite able to get the job done when it came to Schaffner, and he's also over 3 seconds back. Of course, he's about a half a tenth faster than Schaffner last time by. We'll have to see how this all shakes up. But Schaffner has caught up. 1.4 seconds separates him from Derek Heitman. So he's going to be encountering Jeffrey Souza here sooner rather than later.
And so when you just put all of these clothes in the wash together, because that's what you do. You don't separate your. I'm not going to say that because Kenny will get mad. But when you actually separate this and you look at it, the distance is you got Derek Heitman and Jeffrey Souza, who have almost 20 laps on their tires, all the way back to Keselowski and Evans, who are sitting at 5 laps on their equipment. So you got a lot of variables going on right now, and we still got 36 laps to go before this thing is over.
Yeah, definitely. 165 now in the books as Josh Schaffner has caught Jeffrey Souza, and he's going to rock it right up around him on the bottom. But he's still got to contend with Heitman here.
Like I said, this is
the Iceman cometh.
The Iceman cometh.
Yep. You got to love Josh Schaffner. I'll tell you, he's just a character as well. He takes it in stride. I'll tell you, I always pick on him. We always pick on him about him, being involved in the corn industry. But I'll tell you what, that corn seems to have gotten, given him the raceability. I don't know if there's nutrients in corn. I'll tell you, I'm going to buy a can of cream corn tomorrow.
Well, if you looked at his post back up there in that frozen tundra, I think Iceman is a suitable name for Mr. Schaffner.
Well, it looks like Josh Schaffner has taken the lead, and it looks like he's going to be trying to drive away. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking for is DeCiani to catch up to these guys, which he's not that far back.
But DeCiani is going to have to get through 3 cars in order to catch up to be able to race with Schaffner, and that's going to be a tall order. Just because these guys aren't just going to roll over and let him pass, number one. Number two, he's going to have to exert a certain amount of energy in order to get by.
Oh.
And that just plays out in the Schaffner's favor. Yeah, Keselowski definitely getting close there, making a little love tap against Heitman. Sorry, I'll shut up and let you talk.
Well, Al Keselowski is a lap down right now, but they did have a little bit of contact. And, of course, they have some history, Big Al.
I think Keselowski has history with everybody.
Yeah. Definitely love to hang out with Mr. Al Keselowski, but he definitely
I'm not saying that in
words.
I'm not saying that in a negative way. I mean, he is like, I hate to say it, but he's like the Dale Earnhardt in this league, except for Dale won a lot and he doesn't.
Man, he's going to love watching this thing back, but I'll tell you, he's got a hot rod underneath him, and he's got newer tires than these guys. I think what he's really desperately trying to do is get his lap back, and so I don't fault him for it. But then I just don't think Heitman's cutting him a lot of breaks, and I don't think a lot of people do cut Al a lot of breaks because of his reputation.
But when once Al gets these positions back, he's going to have to defend them.
Whoa, big battling.
Whoa, look at Matt DeCiani coming around the high side.
Yeah, he was actually under pressure from Kenny Powell, but he was able to defend against that, and now he's going to be catching up to Jeffrey Souza.
Still running that high line. I think he was definitely trying to make that work for himself. He said he shouldn't be doing it, but, he knows better. But here we go. We got 29 laps to go. I think he has nothing to lose at this point, because if you don't use it, then you're just going to be that much further behind Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, he's got to get by these guys as quick as he possibly can in order to have any sort of hope to catch Schaffner, as now he's side by side with Derek Heitman. Of course, Jeffrey Souza and Heitman on older tires. Kenny Powell going to be trying to get by these guys as well to see if he can't possibly get up into the top 3 here.
And the one thing he is not going to want to do, man, and that is just let these guys gain that position back. Now DeCiani has got to keep the hammer down, and he is going to have to drive that car faster and harder than he has driven it all night. Here comes Kenny Powell. He is doing everything he can to keep consistent pressure on the Derek Heitman. That battle right there is for third place. Powell needing a solid finish here tonight if he is going to try to gain anything within the point structure. Now it looks like he is going to get the run over Heitman, and that's going to solidify him a solid third place right now, Brian.
And we talk about driver's tracks, Big Al. There's no better driver's track in the world, I'd say, than the one that we're going to next week, Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, take that week off.
I hear you, man. And I'll
The
tell you,
only
that's
thing
going to be
good-
a long one.
The only thing good that ever came out of South Carolina was I-95.
I take offense to that. I take
You
offense
pick a
to that.
direction. No, but yeah, you're right. Darlington is going to be another racer's track, and that's definitely going to draw a thin line in the sand. And I know Derek Heitman, that is that's one of his most favorite tracks.
Yeah, and of course, we've been there not too long ago, so a lot of these guys probably have that in their memory. But I'll tell you, it's going to be a tough one still. I mean, Darlington, no matter how much you practice Darlington, stuff goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking of things gone wrong, here comes Don Avery. He is going to be putting himself right up into Jeffrey Sousa's relative. And Sousa is putting all the pressure that he can on Heitman. Heitman is starting to kind of fall back, or those guys are starting to kind of push through, if you will.
Yeah, of course, they are on the older tires, so I think they're regretting that decision.
It was a decision that they made, and you got to live with that. At this point, all you're going to tell that guy in the car is shut up and drive. I'll spare you the Big L karaoke on that one. Shut up and drive.
Well, you didn't spare it. You just
know what you're talking about. It wouldn't be me if I didn't do
You're
it.
right. You're 100% right. It wouldn't be an ISCA broadcast without some Big Al karaoke.
But that's exactly it, though. You made that decision. You knew that you were going to be out there. We're not making this a two-stop race. You got to do it in one. And so we got the few to go. You're just going to have to, bite your teeth, hold your mouth right, and hopefully we'll be able to make this thing work. But Don Avery is definitely going to be wanting to get around these guys. If he's going to have any shot whatsoever as putting himself up on the podium, it's right now, Brian, we're going to be, 21 laps to go before this thing is done.
Yep, it's definitely closing in right now to the end portions of the race, and a lot of these guys are already struggling. I mean, the only person on the racetrack right now that is still in the 24-second lap range is Josh Schaffner and Al Kozlowski. Of course, everybody else is in that 25-second range.
Man, Avery making a move around Jeffrey Sousa. Sousa kind of lost it a little bit, got a little bit of a love tap there up against the wall. That's not going to make his car feel any better, but nonetheless, Avery picks up another position in his quest towards the podium.
Yeah, he is definitely working on it as best he can. Of course, he has quite a bit of distance in between him and Kenny Powell, which would be the next person, or the person he would have to pass to get onto the podium. Of course, Heitman, I don't know. I mean, Heitman, we know he's good at saving tires, so maybe, he's might be able to still hold off Avery, possibly. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, because it's the same thing we say all the time. It's one thing to catch somebody, something totally different to pass them.
100%. I mean, and Heitman's not running bad laps right now. I mean, he's starting to maybe even catch Kenny Powell here. So, I mean, Powell, of course, drove by Heitman, and now Heitman's trending back towards the front. I don't think he's got enough time to catch up there to the leaders, but he could maybe get back up to Kenny Powell. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, there's no quit in that 76, I'll tell you that. Josh Schaffner out and away. 5.7 seconds right now that he has on Matt DeCiani. Let's do a quick rundown to the field as we get closer and closer to the end here. Josh Schaffner, of course, in the lead. Matt DeCiani, second place. Kenny Powell in third. Derek Heitman sitting in fourth place. Fifth place, Don Avery. Sixth place, Jeffrey Sousa. Seventh, Mark Sanchez. Eighth, Darren Mullins. Ninth place, Wes Dobbs. And 10th, Al Kozlowski, of course, a lap down.
Yeah, J.C. Evans hanging in there a lap down as well. And Derek Jacobs, I think those guys are almost home by now. They done loaded up and headed on to the house.
That's right. Unfortunate to see. I don't know exactly what happened with that driver. Hope everything's okay, and definitely hopefully we'll see him on Saturday. Of course, the fight for third is going to be happening sooner rather than later, as Heitman has definitely been trying to run down Kenny Powell. Of course, Powell, earlier in the race, we saw he kept getting really tight and kept hitting the wall. Seems like he's corrected that somewhat, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to feel the pressure of the 76.
Well,
What was that?
Here's what's going to happen. You want me to tell you what's going to happen?
Drop some knowledge on us. The Sun Drop. We got a Sun Drop some knowledge.
Oh, man, don't get me started on Sundrop. Dale was sponsored by Sundrop back in the day. Drinking Sundrop, the down home taste that picks you up. I don't know nothing about that. I'm starting to show just how. Anyway, the biggest thing's going to happen here, the biggest takeaway, these guys are going to start to catch each other, Brian, and it's going to be about at the longest run stint that they've had on their tires. And that's going to cause some serious complications. Right now, we've got Derek Heitman and Jeffrey Souza out there with 42 laps on their tires, respectfully. Then our leader, Josh, has got 33 laps on his tires. So as these tires start to come up into their wear indicators, you know, we're going to start to see how this thing shakes out. But right now, I think Schaffner he's got it dialed in, man.
Yeah, he definitely does. I mean, very fast car they brought this week. I mean, we know he's really good at saving tires, and this is the track to be able to do it at. Is verging on now 10 laps to go. He's got 6 seconds on Matt DeCiani, and you see the difference. I mean, DeCiani was a rocket ship up on the top. Schaffner's been running the bottom the whole time, and I think that's what's allowing him to do this. He's saving tire.
Iceman cometh.
He backs it down. Not too in a rush. He's really good at getting back on that gas.
Yeah, can we ride with our leader for a couple laps?
Sure can. Here we are right now is Josh Schaffner, what he sees through his eyes. You can see he doesn't turn the wheel a whole lot. Just he's patient with it. He lets the nose set, lets the gas and pedals do the work. You know what I mean? Right down to the bottom, lets it settle, then he starts to get back on the gas a little bit, and then gradually powers off the corner. Such an interesting shaped racetrack Rockingham is, I'll tell you that. You got that, you know, kind of backstretched Thunder Alley. It's almost like a quad oval in a lot of ways, the way this track is shaped. Of course, it's smaller and highly banked.
Yeah, hopefully they'll get the money's worth out of this thing, man, reviving it. I think, what else can we do but be excited, right?
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait to see some racing out there, and excited to see what the Cars Tour is going to look like. I know with new ownership and everything like that, excited about the future of racing, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the future has never been brighter. And speaking of bright, you know Josh Schaffner is definitely just dreaming of rows and rows of corn right now, as he has got almost a 6.2 second lead over the field.
Yeah, he is definitely taking care of business.
6 laps to go. I mean, getting it done in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, 100%. And Heitman has still been trying to catch Kenny Powell, but I think time might be running out. If Kenny Powell holds on, going to get a solid 3rd place. I mean, still a solid finish, though, for Heitman. I do believe, like you said before, started in 7th place, you know, up to 4th. Going to be some good points for sure. And, you know, I think what's hurting him, though, I mean, he might have figured something out tonight, but I don't know if he figured it out quick enough.
Well, I would have seen what it was or heard what it was, but, you know, unless he can catch up and pass Powell, we're not going to get a chance. But I'll tell you what, I will ask of you kindly, if he does get around Kenny Powell here with these 4 laps to go, that you make sure and certain that you ask him what it was that he learned.
Yeah, I definitely will. We'll have to see if he's able to make it happen. And, of course, Kenny Powell getting awful close to that wall, a little bit loose as well, trying to avoid it. So this is going to be a close. Whether Derek Heitman can make it by. Of course, the race is not for the lead right now. This is for 3rd place. I do believe now we are at 3 laps to go. Of course, when we hit the white flag, the next flag will end it.
Yeah, I do believe Josh is headed to the hauler. Speaking of headed to the hauler, the 9-car J.C. Evans pulls himself on down pit road right now with 2 laps to go.
Oh, and there goes Heitman deep into the corner up to the 24's back bumper. This is going to be a dog fight right here as we're coming to the white flag. Can Kenny Powell hold on? What is Heitman willing to do? Running out of time, but I think he's got a few more corners left. Can he make some type of offense? He goes to the top, sails it in, Ross Chastain style.
It almost worked.
Oh, they're wrecking.
Oh, that is not going to brief well.
Not at all. Kenny Powell, of course, the race is not over yet, or they have not crossed the line, I should say. Heitman will get third based on that move. I want to take a look back at just what happened.
Good luck with that one.
Going to take a look at that last lap from Heitman. Of course, you see him into the wall. Gets loose a little off of turn 2. Down into Kenny Powell, and Powell, of course, pays the price.
Yeah, take that one to the booth. Think they're going to be wanting to see those drivers up there at that hauler.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting briefing, that's for sure. But let's do a rundown to the field, Big Al. Our finish.
Sorry, that's going to put it in the books. Josh Schaffner, the Iceman, your winner. Matt DeCiani coming home in second with Derek Heitman rounding out the podium. Don Avery comes home in fourth. Jeffrey Souza in fifth. Mark Sanchez sixth. Darren Mullins coming home in seventh. Wes Dobbs eighth. Kenny Powell P9. Al Keselowski in 10th. That's going to round out those top 10. And J.C. Evans 3 laps down. And Derek Jacobs almost home. So that's going to round it out. Tonight we're going to take a brief step away, get a word from our sponsors, and come back here and see how we're going to fillet this fish.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
It's gonna get hot today. Grab an ice cold sun drop and show us how you drop it.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
And drop it.
'Cause I got it going on. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
A thirst-quenching citrus soda just dropped coast to coast. Sun drop.
That's how you drop it. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and what a race that was. Of course, we're going to talk to our top 3 now. Derek Heitman, our third-place finisher, going to be joining us here in the booth. Derek, I mean, third place, man. I mean, we almost thought you was going to win this thing after your performance in Stage 2. What happened?
Stage 3 wasn't as long as Stage 2. I shouldn't say that. I should say the runs weren't as long. The pit cycle is all screwed up. But anyways, it is what it is. That's why I short pitted, because I was watching the lap times and I was waiting to the point where I knew that running my pace I would be a second faster per lap than Schaffner, and I thought that would be my only chance to cycle to the lead. I wish he and some other people had ran a little bit longer on their tires, and it probably would have worked out better for me, long run pace wise. But I mean, what can you do? I'll take third.
100%, man. And you never did tell us what the whole secret was, what you learned. I don't know if you're willing to maybe tell us now.
I learned that coming out of turn 4, if you exit high out of the corner, there's a weird banking up there where it kind of flattens out and goes down a little bit, and that was really destroying the right rear and putting a lot of heat into it. And so I was making you loose off of the corner. So by exiting low, it wasn't putting as much load on the right rear and maintaining drive off, which really, really helped for the long run.
Well, that's definitely interesting for sure, man. So we noticed a little bit of an accident there on the white flag lap, the last lap. Did you want to walk us through possibly what happened? Almost pulled a card out of Chastain's book with the way you were riding that wall.
Well, I accidentally chastained it. I didn't mean to hit the wall, but then I pulled it off the wall fair and square, and then I stayed high. Looking at the replay, I did leave enough room that you could fit. Unfortunately for Kenny, I apologize to Kenny, but looking at the replay, I left so much room you could fit an 18 wheeler between me and the wall. But I mean, at the same time, I mean that's racing. My car is ahead. I'm entitled to that spot. I'm not the one who initiated the contact. I apologize that it happened, but I mean that's really just my point of view of things.
All right, for sure. Well, I'm sure you guys will talk about it and everything, get it all took care of. But next week we're going to be heading to Darlington Raceway. I mean, this being a difficult track, that's another difficult track. How you feeling about it? I mean, I heard that that's one of the tracks that you like.
Yeah, it would be my third time going to Darlington, and Darlington's one of my favorite tracks because it is such a driver's track. The way that you got to drive the corners and you got to be consistent with it, lap after lap after lap, and you really got to be able to hold your car on that high line in turn 3 and 4 and just ride the wall without hitting the wall. I mean, that is the key to having long run pace there, in my opinion. So one of my favorite tracks. It's very methodical, and I'm super excited to go there.
All right, we definitely are as well, for sure. Who can we give a shout out to after this third place finish and definitely getting some points?
I definitely want to shout out EPI. As always, Michael Conti for putting together good setups for us. I wasn't the best at driving it this week, as you can tell. I mean, that's why Matt was just destroying me short run. I can't find that pace. I have no idea where the hell that's at. But again, I mean, another track, a track like this where it's a low tire wear, it's just not really my kind of track because I'm such a long run kind of guy. I want to shout out Kenny. Kenny put together an amazing race, and it's just we had some misfortune with each other, and again, I apologize for it. I'm on the side where I don't think it's my fault, but I do apologize that happened to him because he definitely deserved a better finish than he got. And then finally, I want to shout out Sherry for watching this race, for letting Don race every weekend, and giving Don all that support.
All right, yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the first time in quite a while we haven't had to shout out Sherry. Just consider Don's not going to be getting an interview tonight, so unfortunately, but congratulations, Don, for sure. But congratulations to you as well, Derek, and we'll see you at Darlington, man.
Hey, thank you.
All righty, that was Derek Heitman, and definitely our 7th place, finished 3rd. Next up, Big Al's going to be standing by with the one of Matt DeCiani. Definitely looked like he had the car to beat tonight.
Hey, Matt, this is Big. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
So, let me ask you a question, Matt, as we get ready to conduct our interview. You led 58 laps, but you didn't get to lead the most important one. Where do you think it actually fell apart for you?
Potentially pre-race when I ran a tighter set. I don't know, just with the track conditions. I didn't expect my car to tighten up as it did, and granted, I think Josh wasn't showing his cards per se. He definitely had the best car in stage 3. I don't know. I was ripping the fence. I got into the wall quite a bit there at the end of stage 2 trying to get positions. I had like 25 seconds of damage I never fixed, but I don't really know if that would have made any difference. Josh just had me covered in stage 3.
No, as the race went on and the track changed, How did that affect your setup? Did you feel as confident going into stage 3 as you were, say, at the end of stage 2?
I was getting tight in stage 2, and I kind of in the set I should have ran had. I'm not gonna give away exactly what it had, but something I couldn't adjust on a pit stop, and yeah, so that probably was the first mistake. But yeah, I think with the rubber and the track rubbering up, I just got a lot tighter than I needed to be, even to roll the top. I just had to carry too much brake. I couldn't roll through center in stage 3 at all.
So when you say the rubber on the track, could you elaborate and explain to the folks at home exactly what you mean and what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, iRacing has track states, right? So I don't know what we started at 60 or something, but yeah, the more cars you run, it just rubbers up, and depending on the track, and just change the way the car handles sometimes.
Yeah, so definitely couldn't get the handling that you wanted, man. But over and all, you came through with a pretty good, solid finish. I know you didn't want to lose it, lose a race. Nobody does, but you started this thing on the pole and you brought it home and in P2. Schaffner just had a rocket ship. How many laps did you guys put in just trying to get your setup tuned in and try to get it to where you wanted it?
Yeah, I mean the typical what we normally do with EPI and running our test sessions, and then our typical SOF runs and stuff. So I don't know. What were the races this week? 120 laps. So I don't know, probably a couple 500, 600. I don't know, plus with the races in there. So something like that.
All right, next week we go to Darlington. How does that stack up on your list of favorites?
I like Darlington. You got to drive it. So yeah, it'll be fun. Just it's same kind of deal here. Rip the fence. So, at least for me, just stay out of the wall. Keep the right side clean.
Yeah. So, you got any predictions as far as what you think you're going to be next week?
No, not yet. Well, I'll let you know if you ask me Monday night. I'll let you know.
All right, bud. Well, appreciate you, man. Congratulations to bringing home in P2. Before we let you go, who you shouting out tonight?
Yeah, thanks to you guys for calling the race. Thanks to Kenny for putting on the league. EPI for our fantastic setups. Derek with his P3, and Josh. Josh just had the best car there, stage 3, and yeah, congrats to him.
All right, Matt. You take it easy. Don't party too hard, bud, and we'll see you in the winner's circle soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, our second place finisher, and I do believe won stage number 1. So definitely going to be a ton of points going to be going to that team for sure. But next up is the man, the myth, the legend, the Iceman, as Al has dubbed you now. Josh Schaffner, what a performance here tonight. You just showed up out of nowhere, man. And I thought in stage, I think at the start of stage 3, you just drove away. I was like, he's burning his tires up. But you kept that gap and maintained it. How you doing, Josh?
Yeah, doing great. Great to get the number 50 back in victory lane. And it was really an interesting race. Stage 1 and 2 had some really tremendous racing. And I guess I personally didn't really want to mix it up that much, even though I probably drove a little more aggressive than I usually do. And unfortunately, had a pit road speeding penalty after stage 1 and had a whale of a drive kind of at the start. I knew I really needed to get that track position back quick. And the set was really fast on the short run. So I knew I could probably take advantage of some guys there for 3-4 laps. And then my goal there was to just settle in stage 2 and just pace and kind of really gauge what everyone's got for pace and how hard they're running. And then that just really helped me figure out, a very small adjustment to make for stage 3. And then I knew the pace I needed to do, being able to beat everybody off a pit road after a great stop. And jumped out there a little bit, found my pace, settled in, and I was able to drive away. Long race here tonight. That was tough. I'm sure everyone's really tired, but I just had to really stay focused there. That was just a long run there, that third stage.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like a very long run there for sure. I mean, how much prep did you guys put in this week? I mean, it seemed like you unloaded pretty well.
We started the week off well, and then I think everyone got faster, and we maybe we were just a little bit off. We just couldn't quite find the short to long run pace that we needed. We were either too good on the short run or not good enough on the long run, and we finally found the balance kind of yesterday. We found a good package, and really just found our way. But the guys at G&G, we put a lot of work in this week. I appreciate all their work, and it definitely paid off.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it for sure. I mean, Rockingham, have you ever won here before? I mean, is this one of your new favorites?
Yeah, I know I ran well here last year in ISCA, had a second place. I might have had a wreck on the Saturday series, but I've won a open here before, and always a track I've really enjoyed. And really rough track, old surface. The tire model is unique. I mean, there's definitely wear, but if you get the setup right, you can abuse it a little bit and still have pace at the end. But yeah, a great track. I love it. Kind of a driver's track. It gives you some options, but it was really tough to pass this week, and I think that's been kind of the big story of the week. Is once you get past 25 laps, it's really tough to pass.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that was the case. Track position was so important. So you do think the clean air possibly was benefiting you? Having that track position and winning the race off pit road like you did, which was fantastic. I don't see how you got off before all those guys did.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think Derek might have overshot his pit. I saw him back up there, and so that helps a little bit. And then just lucky enough to beat Matt off a pit row, but that was huge because I knew I could fire off really good. So I just fired out there, about 1.8 seconds, and my goal was I'm just going to back this up to a second, and I figured then it would balance out. And I knew that probably once we got to about lap 33, I'd be able to pull away from Matt and probably pace that, and then yeah, having that lead was able to kind of split the run the way I wanted to, and I know some people short pitted there, and thankfully I didn't give up that much time to them, or they didn't get out there too far, and I was able to run them down and pass them without having to work too hard or use the car up, and from there it was free sailing.
100%, man. Well, fantastic work. I mean, this is definitely, I'd say, a driver's track. But we're going to another driver's track next week, Darlington Raceway. We've kind of talked to a lot of guys, and you either love it or hate it. Where do you stand?
2 words, love it. It's my favorite racetrack.
Well, yeah, I love to hear that because I live in Darlington County, so I mean, I'm proud. We're proud. That's the only thing we got, though. Is Darlington. That's it. The racetrack.
Yep. Been to the southern. Yeah, I've actually made the trip to the Southern 500 from Minnesota. Great experience, a great track, and I really enjoyed that trip.
100%. So you confident in your ability coming into Darlington then?
Yeah, we'll put some work in, but yeah, if we get the set right, I'm confident we can have a good run there.
For sure. Well, definitely excellent work today. You led 82 laps out there. I mean, started 8th, finished 1st. Great story for sure. I mean, I do believe before this race, I do believe we had unique winners in all 4 races. Now you have 2. So you're definitely shooting out in front of the pack. I mean, so got to be giving you some confidence. Who you want to shout out after this accomplishment tonight?
Yeah, a lot of people to thank tonight. I want to thank Kenny and the ISCA. Just such a great league that he puts on, and just an honor to participate in it. And kind of thank everybody in G&G. A lot of good work this week. Teams working really well together, working hard, and really a huge shout out to CWRS and Kenny Coppola. He helped us out a ton yesterday, and without his help, Kenny had a good run there. Unfortunate finish there, but I don't think we'd have been out front without their support here this week. And, Brian, appreciate you and Al in the booth as always. Got to thank our great drivers that we have. And, we had a few guys traveling this week, and I look forward to seeing a bunch more guys back and next week. And I got to thank my wife and my daughters. And also special fact, you might have noticed had a little different logo on the car. Special thanks to Field Facts for coming on board, and appreciate all the support from Jay and Madeline and putting that deal together. And obviously, always want to thank Smith Farms and Pioneer as well. But a lot of people to thank tonight, and just great to get the 50 back in victory lane.
Hey, you might need to write all that down for next time. That's a lot.
A lot of people help make this thing go round.
That's right. Well, great job to you, Josh. Always love to see you up in victory lane. Hopefully we'll see many more, and definitely a great finish to everybody out there. I mean, what a great race. Went green, caution-free the whole time. But thanks for your time, Josh, and congratulations once again.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty, that was Josh Schaffner, our winner here tonight for the Sun Drop 200. And, man, it was 200 laps of nonstop action, even with 12 cars. I tell you what, I couldn't look away, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. And I'm going to steal a page out of Schaffner's playbook there, man. And I want to thank Sherry, because but I'm going to go ahead and go one step further. And I want to thank all of the wives, my wife included, that allow us married guys to actually be able to come out here and have fun like this, because without the women supporting us, this wouldn't happen. So I just want to go ahead and take that opportunity to say thank you to all of the wives and all of our viewers as well, moms included.
Yeah, 100%. I've interviewed so many people and they said their mom was watching, so I got you right there for sure. Shout out to all of those fine folks for sure, and shout out to everybody out there watching. And we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation here of the ISCA Thursday Series. Make sure you tune in on Saturday, same time, same place, at Rockingham course, the broadcast started around 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9:30 p.m. is when the green flag drops. We're a little bit after that, I should say. But we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you at Darlington, or we'll see you at Saturday, I should say, at Rockingham. We still got a little bit of this left to go.